Hello and welcome to Faux News. I'm your host, Faux News. Is the U.S. poised to strike Iran? Yes. With the moves in recent days, including today, the Trump administration telling officials in Qatar to evacuate, I think it is inevitable that something is going to be done on the strike front in the next few days. If something is not done, that would be the ultimate bluff, and one that it would be kind of hard to save face from making. Nevertheless, it would be the ultimate bluff and could be used strategically, but I don't think that's what's going on here. In terms of the strikes that would be involved, I think Venezuela will serve as a good forerunner to how things would go down in Iran. I think Trump is clearly a fan of quick and decisive action, get in, cause a lot of damage, and then get out. And I see something along those lines being employed. Something like special forces taking out high members of the leadership, combined with very broad sweeping airstrikes at key targets. Sort of an overwhelming, for lack of a better word, blitzkrieg, and then get out, in the hopes that that will foment the necessary momentum and public unrest, and also hopefully flip people at the top of the leadership into overthrowing the regime and moving down the path of installing a secular and more pro-Western regime. So that's that. I did a video on this in June, where I thought that after we had bombed Fordow and the nuclear sites, where I thought that it would be inevitable that the Trump administration would make a move to produce regime change in Iran within the next 2 years. So they're operating at a greatly expedited pace here. And here's a side note. One might have to wonder if these recent large geopolitical moves might have something to do with getting people to forget about the Epstein files, because it has been very successful in doing that. But they're definitely ahead of schedule on a lot of fronts, Greenland being another one. In that June video, the reason I believe that is because Israel clearly has Trump in their pocket, and they have all, for a long, long time, have wanted regime change in Iran. That is why I thought that before he leaves office that they would go down this road. That was one thing, and also the fact that Trump is a bit of a legacy egomaniac. I did not see him leaving office without taking a swing at this, because if successful, and that might be a long shot, it would be a huge notch on the legacy belt. So I think that's it for now. I just want to make a quick video because we could be striking Iran right now as I speak, and so wanted to get this out there. That's it. Thank you for watching. We'll see how things play out. Along those lines, this is why people are very uneasy about about this possibly going down, because yes, the Ayatollah is a theocracy and an extremist regime, but you could install ISIS potentially, or more extreme groups. It could be you have to be very careful about how you go about doing this so that the right people come into power. That being said, I think I've known quite a few Persians in my life, and while most of them had been in the U.S. for decades, talking to them and getting to know them, I would wager a lot of money on the fact that Iran is a very interesting country, because they have a large segment of the population that, again, in my life experience, having known a number of Persians, I would say is the far majority of the population that is very secular. They never wanted this theocratic extremist government. It's simply that it came to power and they've been under its thumb for, what are we at now, 45 years? So I think there's definitely a strong prospect for and hope for a secular government coming to power in Iran, and that's why, if this is done correctly, I would not necessarily be totally against some sort of intervention in Iran, because I think you could have a somewhat high chance of success if you went about things correctly. And the final thing I'll say on that is Iran is a very interesting case study on like power dynamics, because like I said, a large part of the population, I would say, is secular, and it's interesting that they had such an extremist regime come to power, and I think it's irrefutable that the reason that happened is because the society is so secular. I would contend it's the most secular and least religious, fundamentalist of any of the countries in the Middle East, of the large ones anyway. And but the reason the extremists came to power is because it's that way. You had to swing things drastically in the opposite direction to overpower those extremist force, or secular forces, to install a regime that was more along the lines of Islamic and Sharia law. So very interesting to see how this plays out. We will stay tuned, and I might do an update. But thank you for watching. As always, it's not fake news, it's faux news.